The morning sun cast long shadows across Oliver's junkyard, turning mountains of twisted metal into jagged silhouettes. He'd owned this place for 15 years, ever since humanity had joined the Galactic Coalition and Earth became a dumping ground for obsolete alien technology. Most people saw garbage. Oliver saw possibility. He was making his usual rounds when he heard Itasoft, whimpering sound coming from beneath a collapsed freighter hull. Oliver froze. In all his years, he'd found many things in his yard. Dangerous plasma cells, valuable quantum processors, even a few contraband weapons. But never something alive. Carefully, he approached the wreckage and peered inside. What he saw made his breath catch. Curled in a nest of shredded insulation and damaged circuitry was a creature, no larger than a house cat. Its scales shimmered between deep purple and midnight blue, and small wisps of smoke drifted from its nostrils with each breath. Membranous wings, torn and tattered, were folded against its sides. A dragon, an actual dragon. Oliver had heard rumors, of course. The Dracari were one of the Coalition's oldest species, proud, fierce, and currently engaged in a brutal civil war that had fractured their empire. Their young were said to be sacred, protected by laws that transcended species. And here was one, alone and injured in his junkyard. The creature's eyes opened, brilliant gold flecked with amber. They locked on to Oliver with an intelligence that was unmistakably sentient. The dragon child tried to rise, but collapsed with a pitiful cry. One of its legs was bent at an unnatural angle. "Easy there, little one," Oliver whispered, slowly extending his hand. "I'm not going to hurt you." The dragon snapped weakly at him, a small gout of flame sputtering from its mouth. Oliver didn't pull back. He'd learned patience working with dangerous machinery. Fear only made things worse. "I know you're scared," he said softly, "but that leg needs fixing, and you need food. Let me help you." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then, perhaps from exhaustion or perhaps from something it saw in Oliver's eyes, the dragon stopped, struggling. Oliver carefully scooped the creature into his arms, cradling it like he might have held a child. He carried it to his workshop, a converted shipping container filled with tools and half-repaired tech. Setting the dragon on his workbench, Oliver examined the injury. The leg was definitely broken, but cleanly. He could work with that. "This is going to hurt," he warned, gathering supplies. "But I promise I'll be as gentle as I can." The dragon watched, him with those impossibly intelligent eyes as Oliver fashioned a splint from lightweight alloy rods and medical foam he'd salvaged from an old Coalition medpod. The creature hissed and smoked but didn't flame him. When he was done, Oliver offered it water and some of his lunch, a protein bar that the dragon sniffed suspiciously before devouring. That was 3 weeks ago. Oliver named him Ember, though he suspected the dragon already had a name he couldn't pronounce. The leg was healing well, and Ember had grown noticeably larger, now the size of a medium dog. He'd also grown more playful, chasing Oliver's welding drones and occasionally setting small fires that Oliver had to frantically extinguish. Oliver knew he should contact the Coalition authorities. Every day he didn't was a risk. But every time he looked at Ember curled up in his workshop, trusting and content, he couldn't bring himself to make the call. The dragon had chosen to trust him, a human, when he had every reason not to. How could Oliver betray that? Then Isabella arrived. She appeared at his gate on a Tuesday morning, tall and imposing in the burnished armor of a Dracari honor guard. Her scales were deep crimson, her eyes like molten gold. Behind her stood a squadron of warriors, their weapons unconcealed. "Human," she said, her voice like thunder rolling across mountains. "You harbor something that belongs to my people." Oliver's heart sank. He thought about lying, but what was the point? Instead, he nodded. "He's inside. He was hurt when I found him. I've been taking care of him." Isabella's eyes narrowed. "You dare keep a Dracari youngling as a pet?" "Not as a pet," Oliver said firmly, meeting her gaze. "As a patient. As someone who needed help. I would have contacted your people, but I didn't know which side of your war to trust. I didn't know who would use a child as a weapon." Something flickered in Isabella's expression. She gestured to her warriors to wait and followed Oliver into the workshop. Ember was awake, perched on a shelf, his leg almost fully healed. When he saw Isabella, he chirped a sound of pure joy and launched himself at her, wings partially extended. She caught him effortlessly, tears glistening in her golden eyes. "My sister's child," she whispered, holding Ember close. "We thought him lost when their ship was destroyed. We searched for weeks." She looked at Oliver, and he saw something new in her expression. Respect. "You saved him, fed him, healed him." She paused. "Why, you could have sold him. Dracari younglings fetch incredible prices on black markets." Oliver shrugged. "Because he needed help. That's what humans do. We see someone in trouble, and we can't just walk away. Our hearts won't let us." Isabella was quiet for a long moment, studying him. Then she lowered her head in a gesture Oliver recognized as a bow of deep respect. "The Dracari have misunderstood your species," she said. "We thought you weak because you're young in the stars. We thought you soft because you value compassion. We were wrong." She reached into her armor and pulled out a small medallion, pressing it into Oliver's hand. "This marks you as kin-friend to House Sef. You will always have allies among the Dracari. Oliver of Earth. Always." Ember chirped again, nuzzling against Oliver's hand one last time before Isabella spread her wings as they left. Oliver stood in his junkyard, surrounded by broken things he'd made whole, and smiled. Maybe humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their adaptability. Maybe it was simply that their hearts wouldn't let them ignore someone in need, even a dragon.